Okay, hey, let's get more on this because joining us now is Claire Wormsley. She's the founder of the Global Conference Network, which runs summits, awards and training for the industry, as well as Mohammed Yunus. He is the founder of VFairs. That's a virtual events platform that connects tens of thousands of exhibitors. Claire and Mohammed, a real pleasure having you both with us. Thanks for your time. Hey, let's start ladies first. Claire, you and I spoke, I interviewed you a couple of times early in the year. I think the last time I spoke to you was late February, and it was already looking pretty messy, unfortunately. 8 months on, paint a picture, a brief picture. How's it been?
Oh, the industry is on its knees. It's being absolutely devastated. Most countries are allowing some events to take place, with the notable exception of the UK. But they are very few and far between. I must disagree with you when you talk about events being a breeding ground for COVID. We have health and safety very much at the heart of what we do, and there are plenty of great examples of events which have been run. In Dusseldorf recently, we had the Caravan Show, where 100,000 people attended safely and securely. And, we have examples in the Middle East, Asia, of events taking place.
Sorry to interrupt, Claire. Do you know, out of that 100,000 people who probably travelled in all different parts of the world, or at least from different parts of Germany, if none of them came down with the virus?
There hasn't been a single case of COVID which has arisen from an event which has taken place globally since they've been opened.
Well, no, that is great news if there's been some good examples. Mohammed, let me ask you about this. Tell me about your business so far this year, because you've been doing pretty darn well, haven't you?
Yep. Thousands of companies have reached out to us to move their live conferences online. These have been the likes of virtual conferences, trade shows, job fairs, and open days. These thousands plus conferences have attracted already over 2 million attendees, and over 40,000 companies have exhibited. We had to grow our team tenfold just to cope up with this demand. So yeah, have been seeing great growth over there.
Okay, and Claire, I guess the problem for the physical events industry, it's not, and those who are suffering, the companies that attend and the companies that buy, it's not just them. I mean, there's a whole chain, right? A whole chain that rely on conferences from, well, carpet fitters to caterers.
Absolutely. There's a huge supply chain. I mean, venues in particular have had pretty much zero income in a lot of places. The caterers, the audiovisual companies, you're absolutely right, they are all suffering. It's also not just the event companies and the trade which is done. For cities, events bring in a lot of business. Orlando estimates that for every convention visitor, they spend £2,000 in the city. For countries, it's a huge amount. The UK, if we're not going to run events until February, March next year, will lose £31 billion in visitor spending. That's a massive amount of money.
Mohammed, just briefly, can you explain your platform? What are the advantages of having a digital conference? Obviously, apart from contracting a virus or whatever in that case, but how does it work?
Yeah, so think of it as a live conference, right? From an event organizer perspective, you will come up with an idea of a conference. You'll reach out to companies to sponsor and be exhibitor in your conference. You'll reach out to speakers to give those talks and presentations, and then you'll market this event, to your attendees so that they can come and attend it. It's just that all of this happens online. All of this happens from the comfort of your home or office. And the benefit is just a scale, right? You can do a virtual event and you can connect companies, attendees from all over the world. It's a lot more measured and tracked, so everyone get to see the ROI, who went to which booth, who clicked on which link, which presentation for how long. And again, you don't have to walk or get tired. It's just a lot more easy, cost-effective for everyone to participate and run one.
Claire, what do you think about that? Because, again, you and I have spoken in the past, and you're very good at explaining to us, there's something really important, right, about being physically there, face-to-face at these events.
I mean, I agree. I think virtual events are brilliant, though. I do. And as Mohammed has explained, I mean, they are a great way for industries at this point in time to connect and communicate. And I think they're here to stay. which is fantastic. But they are not a replacement for live events. That social interaction, that emotional connection, those conversations which happen by surprise when you bump into an old colleague or you're at a medical conference and you're sharing new ideas. Those things I just don't think translate virtually. And some events just don't work, whether they be award ceremonies or product launches. You want the excitement and the pizzazz of an actual live event. So whilst I think virtual is fantastic, I'm delighted that we've accelerated the use of it within the events industry. I'm also can't wait to get back to live events, to actually meet people, look them in the eye and have that social interaction.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Mohammed, Claire's right, or she's got a point, doesn't she, that there are some industries, sectors that just not going to work. It's not going to work doing it virtually, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, I think we all love physical events, and there are some events that are going to stay. What we have already been seeing is that people who have done virtual events, they are thinking that either I'm not going to go back to physical, because sometimes a virtual conference makes a lot more sense than a physical one. And those who love physical events, they are thinking that, you know what, doing online is just so it's so cost effective and cheap. And again, you can get the scale from an online one, that they see this as they see the future of their events as hybrid, right? So they want to go back to physical, they want to have that emotional connection, they want to have that one-to-one physical meeting, but they also feel that what virtual brings now on the table is just a lot more reach at a very cost-effective price.
And on that note, Claire, if you've got the big players who look to the future and go, we're going to stay online, given, you know, looking back at their, I guess, how they performed online now during the pandemic. If you've got the big players, let's tech as an example. I mean, if I look at Amazon, Apple, Samsung, Sony, if in the future they're going to go online, do you think people will go to events just to, I don't know, meet the smaller players?
Well, I think moving forward in the short, medium term, I think the local domestic market is one which is likely to see more events. I was pleased to read Informer's Beauty Expo in China actually had a 20% increase in visitors. That's a local event. I still believe that visitors will come back. I mean, for an event organizer, I hear how great virtual events are, and I'm not really disagreeing. But from an organizer's point of view, we are making 15 to 20% of what we would make from a physical event. And that's going to hurt the sector massively. It's not really sustainable in the long term.
Can I ask you this just very quickly again, Claire, talking about sustainable? I mean, this is, if I'm looking at the numbers right now, I mean, it was projected by 2026, this industry generated $2.3 trillion. In the US alone, it supports 6.6 million jobs. Should more, is the industry calling on, you know, more support, government support?
Well, we've seen a big variation around the world. Some countries are actively supporting their events industry because they see that they actually generate a huge amount of revenue for the country, whether it be in taxes or employment of people. Other countries, notably the UK, have been absolutely lacking in their support of the event industry. And we're crying out for it because we believe that we can actually deliver events to support businesses in the safest way possible. And we're good for business and we're good for the economy and we support them. But we need help because if we're legally not allowed to trade and not a viable business, companies will just get out of business.
Mohammed, let me ask you this. How do you feel when you're riding a very successful wave off what is considered a disaster for the physical events and you know, quite possibly millions of jobs being... Of course, it's nothing to do with you and not your fault, but millions of jobs being lost. How does that sit with you?
Yeah, see, no one feels good, and I think we all want this pandemic to be over. You know, but I think the message that I want to send across is that it's pretty much like, you know, how the internet era came or mobile era came, and you know, you just know that, you know, eventually this is going to be the future. So I think the reality is reality, which is a lot of these events are going to move online. No one feels good about it. We all want this to be over. But at the same time, I think purely from an event organizer perspective, exhibitors and attendees perspective, I think we should just know that the future of events is going to be a lot more online and a lot more hybrid. Some of those physical events won't make sense in the future. A lot of these companies won't just spend money, being part of those physical events when they can do when they can run an online event at a fraction of that price.
Okay, Mohammed Yunus and Claire Wormsley. 11, 12 minutes, how time flies. But listen, good luck with everything. We appreciate your time. Both stay safe and well, and we'll check in with you soon. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.